Different phone. Let's see if I can get this. So let's refresh this page. Come on, refresh, refresh, refresh. One moment, please. Come on. Show me the link. Hopefully this is in time. Right. So let's go over to this one. It's completely different. I may have to angle it slightly differently. Oh, that's better. Right, I'm going to have to go over to the Patreon and drop a new link. So I shall go to Patreon. That's an early crash. I'm glad it crashed at the beginning. I think we'll just, I don't know if it's the app or it's the phone. That's odd, very strange. Just bear with me one moment. I'm just currently, video with you in a jiffy. New stream link. Then I have to do that. And then I'll share that. Righty-ho. Okay, right, this should be more or less back to normal now. Just give me a second here. So there's the dead stream. I'll just put a wee link there again. And then head over to the other stream. Well, that was awkward. That was slightly annoying. Am I right in saying this looks like Potato Vision? It's not Potato Vision. It just looks a bit potato-ish, if you ask me. But that's just how it is. It is a different camera from normal. I'm just going to change the settings in this so that it does actually display. So I shall edit this one while it's live. Customization, live chat replay is enabled. Okay, that's fine. Right, where were we? Where were we before this happened? Maybe it just doesn't like me mentioning the AI. Maybe the AI is vengeful. I'll just put this phone through. It's not doing the job at the moment. I wonder what's its boggle. Sterilization indeed, and also make sure you're live. The little thing is lit at the bottom in the progress bar if the stream is in progress. What time to shave the moustache off? I instantly got a reminder through saying you have to renew your driving license. Does that even, I didn't know you had to renew your license. So I had to go and get the passport photo taken, which is about nothing like I normally look. Also, £9 for the passport photos, and it also comes up with a warning saying these can't be used in passports, and it's like, what? Very strange. You look a bit pale. It may have the colour temperature set. Oh no, it should have automatically adjusted that. It's fine. Anyway, scanning. Photo and license expires. Well, it's definitely expired now because it doesn't even look remotely like me. But anyway, Muslim terrorist it is then. That's going to cause lots of fun because it also doubles up as a travel pass for travel to the UK. Jägermunion. Let me think. To roofers for having to put up with working on shitty roofs like I've been doing today up on this roof just before the fucking rain started. And it was a solvent-based bitumen I put on. That's just terrible timing. It was a gloriously dry day. I put it on, the rain started. To roofers. This is going to hurt to have this spicy cough at the moment. Spicy cough. I've been making permanent slides, so hopefully the fumes don't have any effect on my chatting abilities. Permanent slides, Craig Matthews. Permanent slides? Oh, I didn't get my coffee, did I? Two Rivers, my fear of heights precludes me using that, the chipmunk. I have no problem with roofs. I quite like height. It's falling off the height that's the problem. Also, my weight isn't best suited to many roofs. When I renewed my passport, I took my own digital photograph, tweaked it in Photoshop, removed any metadata from it, submitted it with no problems, Electron Box. That makes sense. Camera Doctor, Andy's gone. Oh, I've definitely not gone. Well, I hope I've not gone. Spicy coffee with COVID. Oh, right, Brenton Sword. I wouldn't call it a spicy cough. I'd just call it, if it's the original Delta variant, was it, that I got, no spice for MD. Coffee, everyone, indeed, Boudica. Coffee. I took a selfie with my phone for the latest passport. Kind of makes sense. If you're send them in digitally, I suppose that's not so bad. This one, you still submit an actual picture. The place I went into initially, I went into the local ShopRite, and their machine just didn't want to do passport photographs. It wanted to do fashionista photographs, but nothing, it just didn't seem to, and the one that looked passportish, there was no guarantee it was going to be passport. It was really vague, really badly programmed. Then I went to a local print place and that takes photos and prints them out for you for passport use right there and then. And she said, I could take your photo now, but I can't give you it till tomorrow because all the printers are updating or something like that, and I can't touch them while they're updating, so you'd get your picture tomorrow. Then I went to the post office and just gave it my £9 for 4 pictures. I get the feeling it may have upsold me, sneakily. Falling off isn't the scary bit, it's the landing. It's the sudden stop, Alan Hurst, indeed. Do you know of another trusted brand of 5-volt power supplies other than the usual Meanwell? If we're talking DGS, we're talking like the chassis power supplies, the only one I actually trust is Meanwell. I have ordered a 24-volt one from eBay, and it says it's made by Seiko, S-E-I-K-O. I'm not convinced. We'll see when it arrives. They're also fake Meanwells. Did not email your copy. Local shop does that. Well, here's the problem. I suppose you could print it out. There is a website that offers you just send your image taken however it is, and they automatically clean the image up, and then they send it either in a format that you can take the file to your local Tesco, and you can use a photo printing service to print loads of images onto one bit of paper. Not that you really need that many images, just one, really. Hold on, I'm just going to go and grab the coffee. It's just sitting there getting cold. And once I finish this, we can move on to the Bud Light. The fire brigade had to take me off a cracking tower after I looked down, DCL. This thing, don't look down. I've never really had a problem looking down. I've not been blessed with common sense. Epson is part of the Seiko group of companies. Oh, right, okay. Oh, the Dave Savary fight video, Steve Perry. Summary. David Savary, the YouTube electrical channel. He went to a customer, a Karen. I don't really know the full story behind this, but she was adamant that as soon as he entered that he'd destroyed all the electrics in her house or something. Something was tripping, and I'm not really sure what's happening. But she went full Karen, like screaming and grabbing, and I think she actually slashed his face with her fingernails. And they ended up going with cameras and filming it, and then the police were called. It was pretty horrible. I don't know if she's got mental health problems. But she's got mental health problems. Clearly it must be. But they were going to arrest her. My sister at photo and post office had a code number for passports. Seiko makes some amazing timing mechanisms for industrial equipment. Now, talking of which, I came across a video showing an elevator, and the company involved, it was electromechanical control, quite interesting. There's a big cam switch, well, a small cam switch, really. Sequencing relays. So that every time the motor started, you'd see the relays go ching, 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 ching. And it was switching in resistor banks in the motor on probably an auxiliary winding just for, yeah, not sure there. But there were two timers to the doors and it was time clocks. And each time they triggered, you'd see them go around like that, then stop and then reset, click back. And it was really odd watching it. Very strange. It also had a selenium rectifier, I think there was a silicon rectifier in there, and a mercury rectifier, all in the one elevator. Very strange. The Electrobeam's Firefly vid, John Starling, looked quite complicated. I've got a few crazy customers crying to screaming, and not in that way. No, I don't like dealing with people directly. I don't like going to people's houses. But it looked like she was living on her own, partly because I don't think MD could live with her, and who knows. Cabs are a lot of automatons work, really amazing. They can do a lot with the cam mechanisms. Did you get the email I sent you, April? The meter inside is quite interesting. Basically a hoppy, but also DC voltage. Nisai probably did get the email. Did I reply or not? I get a lot of email. And the ones that I want to reply to, I'll just mark them as unread. But then more emails come on top. I get so much email. People find every possible avenue to communicate. And the official email address for the channel on YouTube is unusable because it's just NordVPN, Surfshark, all these games they want me to promote. It's just endless promotion, including one quite early on for the phone I've just reviewed. But I bought it myself. They wanted me to review the Doogie phone, but I'd rather buy it myself so I can say things like, look at the blurring the edge of the photo from the flash and things like that. You wouldn't really be comfortable saying that in a paid review. Can you not set up a filter to that stuff? Well, that is the filter, unfortunately. So don't send emails to it, that particular address. You'll see it varies subtly from my main address, which you can find on bigclive.com. If you go into the closed shop, you'll find it there if it's still about. I bought my house from a crazy lady, and on moving day, all her belongings were still in the house and she was crying. Oh, slowly moving stuff into her car. She's still living in a hotel since 16th of January. That is horrible. That almost feels like she'd been chucked out. That's horrible. Maybe we should make a dedicated Patreon email address. The best way is actually via messages on Patreon. But don't reply to emails sent. Always reply on Patreon, because if you reply to an email or I reply to an email, it just goes into cyberspace. Some grades of stainless steel is magnetic. I've ordered stainless steel and loads of other materials. I'm continuing my experiments with electro-osmotic dehumidification, but so far not much success. As soon as you exceed a certain voltage, you do get electrolytic transfer of the copper electrodes onto the carbon. It's quite complicated. This is why they're not around much. But you know, I'm doing loads of experiments to see if some do work. Most they probably won't work. I'm going to do the experiments anyway. That's how it works. I have been approached by Raid Shadow Legends, and there's no way I'm going to say, wow, oh, I love that game, it's fantastic, because I've never played it. Nor the other games that they're trying to push. Why the fuck would I be promoting games? And they say, we want a 60-second insert in your video. Well, that's like basically 10% of the entire video for a fucking advert. No. Matt Hilscher, I knew I was missing something. What? She had about 6 months to move her stuff out. She didn't want to move. Divorce forced sale. Oh, Andrew, that's not great. She's probably hoping it was all going to work out. That's unpleasant. Theoretically, one of the issues that has stopped me selling the flat in Glasgow, a crack in the ceiling, has now been resolved. They've had the builders in. My neighbours dealt with that because the timing they gave me, like, they just phoned up and said, we're turning up today. And it was like, where's the, I asked for loads of notice so I could be there, and it's just like, no, apparently not. Ah. Kerry Severe, Sam, look, mum, no computer. What amazing thing he's done with the church organ. I didn't realise that the stops were electromechanically actuated so they could be toggled. You doing Avon adverse would be funny. I think they said you can contact you previously. I get the weirdest things, including like makeup and handbags and stuff. Hi, we watch your channel all the time. Really love it. Think it would really suit our product. Here's a link and you go over. It's a fucking handbag and makeup set. That sort of thing. But Sam, sell or keep the flat in Glasgow. That is tricky, Gav Kit. It's a very tricky decision. Glasgow, a hustling, bustling, big city metropolis. The Isle of Man, quiet. Disturbingly quiet. But part of the thing that's going to skew the way I think here is the fact that Ralph has no intention of moving away from here. And now we're both getting quite old. It's kind of, we're going to have to live in the same country, basically. Nothing stopped you doing makeup tutorials, Clive. Hurrah. Well, it certainly worked for Jeffree Star. Just, have you seen how much money that guy's got? Jeffree Star is a very... What's the best word to describe it? Extrovert, feministic guy who does makeup tutorials or tests makeup from... He goes to like Dollar Tree and gets their makeup and then tests them, but does various things. But he also manufactures makeup sets, and he also deals with all the manufacturing and warehousing and shipping of other YouTubers' makeup industries. The guy is minted. Now, boiler suits, I'm quite happy to promote man fashion. Avon is a multi-level marketing company, indeed, Echo the Husky. Makes me think of Ann Summers. No, I'm not doing Ann Summers either. BX60V, never mind a patron's email. A web portal for patrons to display messages and the sign behind would be sweet. Though it could go a bit rude. Could go a bit rude. It would go a bit rude. I'd have to put some sort of paywall on it because to compensate for the fact that sometimes it'd have to be blocked. It would just be profanity after profanity. I got hold of a scale reducer thing, uses FM in the audio band to alter the crystal shape or something, the chipmunk. Okay. Turns out it actually has scientific backing. Yeah, so does the red light therapy. Worse words cost more money, that could be it. Have you ever seen that video of the, I think she's Japanese, and she's got a little sound box, and she's doing a sort of, basically a vlog on the train, but you can actually pay to send a message and it will be read out in a synthesized voice. And someone sent the string of messages. This message is for the bald white guy. Bald white guy, bald white guy, bald white guy. And she's getting really embarrassed. And then it stops and then it just plays loud farting noises. It's quite funny. I don't know if it's staged, but from the behaviour of everybody around her, they weren't in it. I like red light therapy, but the girls have got expensive now. They've always been expensive. MGPS. Except in Glasgow when they're looking for drugs, but then that's probably not the most hygienic type to use. How's the sound, by the way? Is it okay? Keep in mind this is the phone I normally use for recording the videos at the bench. I may have to basically power wash the other phone. It's kind of something looks as though it's got corrupted, or it's just playing up. Nuts and Proud, read your Patreon message. I can do May visit to IOM. Can you say you saw this? I did see your message and replied to you, Nuts and Proud, saying that I will be in Glasgow. Sound video is good. This is good. Get Ralph to answer all your emails. I don't think Ralph answers any of his email. I was getting some ringing resonance from your voice, but I tapped my earbuds and it fixed itself on my end. Weird loose bits in my cheap earbuds. Well, that's good, Matt. I'll be IOM when you're in Glasgow. Yes. Bad timing. What's the time, says Lids. I guess that means it's time for firing. Guess which bit I didn't look out. One moment, please. Listen to the rain. Listen to it drumming down on the bitumen that I put up on the roof. Did it dry in time? Probably not. It turned out that area had had a very botch. Someone had just basically poured huge quantities of tar, and then over time it's just gradually cracked apart, and that's where the hole has appeared. Letting water through, dripping onto the floor through in the scullery, a little room out the back that I call the scullery. I don't know what it is. The washing machine's in there. Woofling. Woofle. Not that I need heat right now. It's scorching here at the moment to my level. Woofle. Fire. We do like fire. Look, I got this recently. It's a MP3 player. I got it in pink, but it takes an SD card and it just seems to charge via this. I don't think it does data transfer. Not sure. It works. Doesn't sound. It's kind of lacking, but oomph, if you know what I mean. But it's all right. Clive scared the cat who was watching it. Sudden flaring. Cats love watching my main channel because the hands moving about on the screen all the time, they seem to be fascinated by it for some reason. Either that or it's the voice, not sure. Looks like original iPod Shuffle. I think that's what it's aimed at. Oh, it's got an on-off switch in the back. Have you seen IB Tat, Clive? Does the long-distance North American hike, swears like a trooper monster beard? I'm not sure. No, I don't think I've seen that, Pieman. Raven Looney, it feels like it might snow tonight. Oh, glorious. MP3 are quaint. Well, it does actually other formats, but MP3, I'm still stuck in that era. Good night, Katie Incredible. Maybe see you Saturday. I got a USB 64 gig stick to record King Coronation. Why? I'm sure it'll be archived everywhere. But hi. Wait a moment, is the bug finally fixed? Kara Zavir. What? The bug? So, I do. Will you be watching? No. It's not my thing. To me, it puts a lot of pressure on Charles. It was bad enough watching him at his funeral when the cameras just wouldn't take their... As his mother was laid down into the grave, the cameras were just concentrating his face just to catch him showing any sign of emotion. They did pretty good, but what a horrible thing to do. Shakes Fist at YouTube. Why? Oh, is there a chat bug? Is it glitching? I'm watching an old stream having deja vu in the pink iPod reveal. I don't think I've revealed that, Gandalf, but I may have featured another one. King Clive, I am king. King of my own castle. Any else got this annoying emoji thing, bottom right of chat panel? No, I've not. Have you been to a high voltage lab? Proper people just dropped a video on old high voltage labs, Weaselbox. Not sure, is that the one, the huge GE high voltage thing that's been... Jeff Behari has just basically taken on a place and is trying to get a new place to build it. He's a well-known collector of high voltage stuff. He used to run the electrotherapy museum with all the vintage quack electrical equipment. Yeah, I feel for Charles, but also not happy at us being told what to think. We've to pledge allegiance to the king. God bless the king. I pledge my allegiance to his majesty and I will obey him at all times. That makes as much sense as going, God bless Margaret Thatcher. I pledge my allegiance to that bitch. Not going to happen. Oh, MGPS. I might be running a large stage PA system this weekend for the coronation. So that Ebdi can have a street party, get out the Union Jack bunting. Get out the blimmin' flamethrower for the bunting. It's putrid. Bunting is so old-fashioned. Why can't they just basically stick up LED festoon lighting instead? One moment to mention photonic inductions, carries Zafir. Has Photonic put anything new out? He's very prone to not putting stuff out. You sound like a Dame Edna. Really? Sam. I'm trying to think how Dame Edna sounds. Oh, I don't know if I could do that voice. Do you get an additional paid day off for the coronation? I believe, well, the Monday is a bank holiday, that guy. I never get a day off. Outside smoking a joint, 13 out here, you've had 13 joints. Is that 13 degrees Celsius? Which is all right. So when does the British presidential election take place? The general election? It must be soon, Kerry Saphir, because the media has just turned on the SNP really majorly. So there must be something happening. I don't know what it is, though. I don't follow the news. I don't care about news. It's all made up. Once helicopter crews get his uniform singed, then bunting above his table set in fire by a flaming baked Alaska. Excellent, Daniel. That's baked Alaska done properly. Any more torch teardowns coming up? Yes, John Starling, but I have to limit them. Do you want to see, is it the 48 kilowatt? No, it's the 98 kilowatt torch. Do you want to see it? You can assess yourself if you think it's 98 kilowatt. Here we go, the eBay 98 kilowatt torch. Right, so it's focusable and it's got a button in the back. Oh no, the 98 kilowatts is burning a hole through me. Maybe there's turbo mode. Maybe I'll hold my finger on it for a while. Is it going to do anything? No, it's not doing anything. No, and it's not burning a hole through my hand either. It strobes though. I don't think it's 98 kilowatts. I mean, just call me suspicious. It's right up there with the 98,000 milliamp power, yeah, or whatever it is, the million milliamp power banks. It's the same type of companies. 98 kilowatts, the whole shower room. That'd be a lot of showers, Raven Looney. It's Chinese kilowatts indeed. Definitely not 9.8 watts. Yeah, not sure, Andy Racked, about the torches that can set things on fire. I've never really quite seen the point. I mean, it's a showpiece, but ultimately you've got a torch that can put out lots of power very, very briefly before the battery goes flat. It's more of a status thing. 98 lumens it could be. I'll put it through, maybe I'll take it apart at some point in time. and list it, the video as the 98 kilowatt flashlight teardown. Look, here's a bit of a car. It's a bit of a car. It's got 5 wires going in, 2 power and 3 control wires. And it's out of a Kia Sportage. Kia Sportage. Any guesses what it might be? Does it say in it? Oh, it does. You might not have to guess. Steiner Pyre is the king of high power torches, yes. Surprised he hasn't blinded himself yet. It's not a xenon light, Jerry BVR. Well, it says ionizer. It does, Haral. It does say ionizer. It is an ozone generator electroshed, but they don't call it that. It's not an ozone generator because the Karens had got upset. It's part of the ventilation system. It has 2 electrodes, so I'm guessing it's a bipolar unit. It's got 3 sharp prongs here. And it's got 6 sharp prongs here, so I'm guessing this is negative and this is positive, but I could be wrong. And it will generate the high voltage. But I'm guessing it's just for basically cleaning the air duct system, but also maybe introducing some freshness into the vehicle and keeping it sterile. Will you be doing more practical experiments of discarded vape batteries, about 50 and still collecting? I'm thinking about a local lighthouse, Pieman. I do have concerns about the number of these cells that people are hoarding now. Sterilize the pasture, indeed, DCM. Destench Karen. I hope I get my hands on a Uniselector real soon. Gonna make a Nixie counter with it. They're nice, Kerry. Chunky and clunky. The schmutz around electrodes is a giveaway, it is. I have had a sneak look inside. I'll open it up. Hold on, it doesn't take long. It just clips together, but it doesn't reveal all its secrets. And it's one of those annoying ones that has clips all around it, that when you get them almost all done, one pops back on. Inside is a metal housing around the high voltage bit. The high voltage bit, which is also black and sooty in here, with just bits of heat shrink sleeving around it. I'm guessing, and there is a screened section around it for electrical separation, but I'm guessing ultimately, I guess that it's isolated, it's not referenced to the vehicle. And all I can see now so far, I can see a couple of what could be regulators or transistors here. That could be a transistor switching power. I'm not sure. I can see a transistor here that I thought could switch power to the actual inverter in here. I tried bypassing it, nothing happened. That was just a ham-fisted thing in a current limited supply. And it's got a little 8-pin chip, which could be a microcontroller. Not really sure. Don't know what's... I'd guess there is data involved, but I could be wrong here. The markings say ion, and there's one that's D and there's one that's C. Data and clock, I'm not really sure. But we'll find out. We'll open it up and we'll hotwire it and make it run in some way, whatever way, hopefully. But it turns out you can get lots. I was looking at one for a Porsche, because the Porsche ones also have them apparently, but it's much Porscher, and it's very expensive. This is going to clack really loudly. Interesting, this one's about 12 quid used from a scrap place. The Porsche one was not 12 quid. It was like 250 quid, and I don't know if that was even a new one. Porsche, BMW, Mercedes, Rolls-Royce. You're not just buying a car, you're buying an ongoing financial commitment. It does make posh ions, that guy. They go faster. And a logo, yes. Why do farts taste funny? Because they've not been ozonated, George Philpott. And they're too moist. You are buying a money pit. Well, that's it, Grimshaw. I see two types of people driving these flash cars. The one is the people using it as a status symbol to say, look how important I am because I have this flash car. It's all I have to show for my wealth. And the other ones that are mechanics or geeks, vehicle geeks. And to be honest, I'm happier with seeing those in the cars. And they've bought it just because it is an interesting vehicle that that they can work on themselves. Horses are only pt2, they are, Hegel the Husky. The pets for poor little rich girls. So I did boat bring out another 1,000. What? Scruff dog? What? Owned an 82 Benz, ended up wildly surprised that the most expensive parts branded Mercedes here had a 2000s Volkswagen part exactly the same for pennies in the dollar. A lot of the components are standard Luxor Labs, but I'm guessing if there's any software involved, they'll tweak it to stop it working in other products. You could put a Porsche engine in Volkswagen Beetle, can you? Ah. Volkswagen, apparently it's pronounced smoke. I learned that when I put that video out. Dollars. What, Scruff Dog? Oh, a boat. Is that a quantity? I joined an unusual stream at the weekend. Fundy Poppet show. It's a furry stream. The people who run the stream are super technical. It's like a recreational thing. They showed me the AV rack. Shit, it's like really high level. And the computers they had and the software running, it's like they work in the entertainment industry. I won't identify them, but they work for a very large corporation doing high profile media stuff. I haven't watched a Fundy Poppet show in years, Echo the Husky. They've got quite a lot of games, interactive games and that. So it's an acronym for boat, every fixed costs 1,000 plus. Oh, bring out another ton. Oh, right, okay. Oh, bring out another ton, that guy. I did not know that. I know a bunch of furries in tech. It carries severe. Technology and artists, furries, it's just basically super intelligent people with an alternative persona because they're not very good at facing people in real life, probably. I think. Anyone see the furry hate video Black Belt Barrister posted yet recently? I did not. It wasn't him doing it, or was it someone else, Echo the Husky? Whatever you have, people always hate it. Did you see that cat costume somebody wore at one of the... it was supposed to be... Oh, what was that famous fashion guy? It was supposed to be his cat anyway. But it was an exquisite costume. Really, really impressive. All the techs at IBM wore long black leather Macs, DCR. Probably okay. As developer by day, artists at night can confirm both fields are filled with furries. They are, web dev. It's very peculiar. Always quite abstract, but super intelligent. I'd put most of them. I don't think, Kerry, I don't think autism exists in the sense that people paint it as this mental illness. I just think it's a different type of human. The Jared Leto, that's the thing. I didn't know who he was. He's apparently an actor, a musician or something, I don't know. He dressed like a cat. It caused an uproar. Yes. There's Yappy Fox indeed. Greetings, Yappy. Have you been lurking in the background? I'm glad I said nice things now. And didn't identify things. Karl Lagerfeld, that's the one. It's very stylish, the image he presents. Yappy Fox, that is, you do realise that the Fundy Puppet Show has one of the most expensive AV racks I've ever seen. Talking of which, why is it that Australia seems to lead the way with video stuff at the moment? I'm not an expert in video stuff, but things like the Black Magic and stuff like that, and the Rode microphones, it just seems a lot of quality stuff comes from Australia. It's very strange. I do like to run around a banana costume every once in a while. I'm not sure that's the same thing, Weaselbox, but it is an alternative persona. I joined right as you mentioned this. Oh, right, Yappy, that's reasonable enough. People are still out there trying to cure it by blasting people with electricity, Craig Matthews, and I see a lot of parents riding on, I was going to say riding their child. That's not the correct wording, is it really? I see them cash in that, oh, my child has got autism, poor me. And it's like, your child has a very interesting life ahead of it. Let's face it. What's the stuff under the big Clive sign? Technical junk. Guess what years were born? Yes, possibly. What Yappy Fox? It was all complimentary. I did join the full thing. I'll use a different microphone next time if I join you again because it's a bit boomy. It's probably a bit boomy right now. It's boomy. There is a microphone above me. I may use my Rode wireless microphone. I tried it here once and people complained because it sounded different, but they always complain when it sounds different. Technical gold it is. Convention staff reckon furries are the best clients. It really surprised me. The mic is fine. Aha. This is second attempt at the stream. It didn't even last. How long did it last? Was it seconds it lasted before it crashed out? There's something wrong there. Yeah. Maybe I should do a long test on that or just switch to a different phone. I like the Rode more, to be honest. It sounds less boomy, Graham Shaw. It sounds cleaner. Furries clean up as they go. They definitely, they probably, I'm thinking electrostatic charge here. Less than a minute. Less than a minute. Craig Matthews until what? Oh, the stream. Yeah, it didn't last very long. Reset phone. I think Weaselbox, I may do that. And only, because I don't really use it for much else, I may just actually only have the YouTube app on it. The people at Furfest had a terrible time with their attendees. Do you know, Treasure Bloke, I'm a bit suspicious that it's becoming fashionable like everything else. What happened in Glasgow, they had well, it wasn't the furries, it was the Club Noir, and it was a fetish club night. But it was organised within the fetish community. It was fairly laid back fetish, a bit of, what do they call that? Dancing where they take the clothes off, but they don't take them all off. There's a burlesque. And it was just all basically entertainment, but then it became fashionable. It hit the media, and then it was swamped with everybody who's just going in and dressing up in fetish-type clothing, and it ruined it. Don't need a fursuit to be a furry. Onyx. Always like that when anything goes mainstream, that guy. It's like, even gay bars, I used to go out to gay bars when I finally embraced the reality. But they just got swamped by straight people who just thought they were so cool to be in a gay bar. And it was just rubbish after that. They ruined it. Fucking straights. Norms, bastards. I mean, commercially, it was a success, say Club Noir. I helped make some props for it. Never ever went there. Gay bars aren't gay anymore here. No, they're just bars these days. Furfest had nappies thrown onto cars. What? It's because gay bars are the best music, Raven Looney, they do, and also they're quite nice laid back atmosphere. Until the straights come in. Moan, 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 moan. I used to frequent the grass market near some when I was in a course at Ferrante. Go-go dancers. Aha. Pie man. Anyway, I'm going to go and get some beer. 1 moment, please. Bud Light. Well, beer. I've been told this isn't beer. We're only here for the beer. Feeling the gay, Dr. Squirrel. Will it go up the nose this time? No, that's just, it doesn't carbonate well. It does come out the nose. Quite. I didn't spit it out onto the towel I'd put down. It was actually just coming out. It just foamed up and pressurized in the mouth. It's really not great beer, that guy. It's popular enough. What's light about it? Does it have low calories or it's just low alcohol or something? Don't really know. 3.5%. That'll be low alcohol then. But you can drink more. But it's fine. Tastes okay. You should add a shot of the Frosty Jack's extract to it. Oh, could do. I could power it up, couldn't I? 1 moment, please. I shall add a shot of Frosty Jack's Experiment. Has it improved yet? Hold on, I'm just going to taste it. No. I shall put it in and energize it and turn it into Bud Heavy. I don't know what's going on at the moment. I'm guessing that the media is behind the whole Bud Light thing, just whipping it up. And they're doing the same thing in the UK. They're targeting trans people at the moment for some reason. I don't know what's the media agenda here. Maybe there's something political going on in the background. Don't know. Ugh. Right, I've energized the Bud Light. It's not trans anymore. It's beer now. Snake Bud. I'll give it a swirl, and then I'll give it a taste test in a moment. Star Delta's here. Greetings, Star Delta. You may have noticed that we were on the second stream. The first one lasted very short time. It lasted seconds. And the whole app shut down. Just the YouTube app closed completely. It went back to the home screen. I've heard of fortified wine, but never beer. That might be how they make, though. That might be how they make things like... In the UK, we used to have Tennant Super Lager. I don't know if they still sell it, but it is basically beer made for alcoholics. It's like Frosty Jack's with its pint of vodka in it. Weezer Box, trans have been targeted as long as I've known a trans person the past 20 years. It is a bit odd. I think I do admit that I feel uncomfortable when they're doing saying that children can choose their gender at a very young age. I think that's something they should do once they're older. Once they've had some time to find their direction in life. I just feel a bit uncomfortable that they're trying to push it to too low an age. It just seems that they're almost provoking a backlash. Very suspicious that some of the people doing that aren't trans but just want attention and are using the whole trans image to get attention for themselves and whip up rage. But then, that's just a strong opinion. My apologies if I've offended anyone. Apparently some people do yards of vodka. That is a bad idea. Not a whole yard. That's terrible. Craig Matthews. For those who don't know, you get a glass called a yard, and it is about a yard long, and it's got a globe at one end, a little sort of flared spout at the other end. You drink a yard of beer, but a yard of vodka. That's called alcohol poisoning. Read Tours Clive's ex-Tash. The Tash is gradually creeping back. Yeah, it was the wrong time to an official document through for a photo, but that's just how it worked. Both sides have agendas. Yes, they do. Humans are very divisive. Like, cyclists, Horvath. Let's do math. What's the volume of a yard? Well, I don't really know what the volume is in a yard. I mean, you'd have to actually measure. You'll find it online. A yard glass will have a specific volume, probably. Don't know what it is. Tenants like 3-5% very little carbs. Sounds low calorie as well, John Anderson, if it's not got loads of sugar in it. They don't really publish nutritional information in these, do they? Oh, energy. Per 440 millimeter, 118 calories. That's all right. You can replace a meal with 4 of these. That's after you've reinforced it with Frosty Jack Moonshine. Yay for rotary phones. I've got a rotary phone somewhere, Weasel Box. What? No, it can't be around 4 pints, not if people are drinking a yard of vodka. That's dire. That's not going to do you much good. A yard's about 3.5 pints. You can't drink that much vodka in one go. That just sounds like suicide. Oh, dear. Hold on. What's the volume? What is the volume of a yard of ale? 2.5 pints. How many pints in a yard of ale? The Guinness Book of World Records recognises 2.5 pints, the official volume of a yard of ale. However, they can vary greatly, ranging from 2 to 5 pints. Let's just hope that the vodka ones are not. 2.4 pints, the British standard. Aha. What happened to a tray of diluted Jello shots? I've never tried Jello shots, Peter Stevens. Does it work? Is it okay? Do they set? You can get yards in different sizes. Apparently on eBay you can get meters in different sizes as well, but let's not go there. Undersized items. I take it really the length of a yard glass is going to come out at fairly high velocity. Drinking games are not a good idea. Drinking should be done in a controlled and enjoyable manner, and not just bang down. Jello shots, yes, are dangerous, not diluted, Peter Stevens. Let me try Jello shots. I shall look the recipe up online to see what's the correct ratio of liquor. You see that, Scotland, Clive? Oh, Harris. It's just people go out at the weekend with intention to get blind drunk and then have a hangover the following day. Why would you do that? I just don't get that. It seems unnecessary punishment because the amount of pleasure you get getting there is not worth it for the hangover. I've had the hangovers twice in my life and they were not a good idea. Try vodka mac and cheese. It's vivid. Vodka mac and cheese. Oh, and that doesn't it evaporate quite quickly? That's half a litre of pure ethanol, or 50 units. It is. The trick is to spin the yard, create a vortex to avoid the blowback. Right. New Ninja, complicated. Dave Ward, hangovers never made sense to me either. That's just strange. The Barbary Coast, drink your way along Douglas from one end to the other, really, Steve Perry. I mean, the Barbary Coast is a venue, quite a nice venue. It's a bit like a TFI Friday. No, that's TGI Friday. In Douglas. Been there once. It was quite nice. But is the Barbary Coast, is that named after the Barbary Coast, where you start at maybe the railway tavern and work your way along? That's a lot of pubs. Does that include Quids Inn and stuff like that? Vodka spaghetti sauce is popular here. The worst I've done, I think, is Bailey's Irish cream on the cornflakes or Rice Krispies. Quite nice. Not suitable before work. Hangovers are usually caused by dehydration. Is it just dehydration, Graham Shaw? There is that theory if you drink lots and lots of water afterwards, you're not going to get them, but I don't really know. Beer in my Cheerios quite tasty. I'm not sure that would work. I'm not really sure. The Irish cream in your Cheerios would be nice. I drink loads of water and works okay, Dr. Squirrel says. Useful. Moonshine equal less hangover. It depends on the quality, I'm guessing, Mike Hanley. Not really sure. I think moonshine is very pure ethanol, so I think in things like cider is going to give you one of the worst because it's got other impurities in it, including a small quantity of methanol. Maybe the methanol is the bad bit. Mouse says, I found that when the doctor put me on a large vitamin D dose, my hangovers were minimal to not noticeable. Really? Useful. What do you do to your hand, Mouse? I know you stabbed yourself and ended up in hospital getting stitches. Presumably in the vicinity of your lathe, I'm not really sure. I don't drink, I get sick, no funds. Weaselbox, that's what I do as well. I just feel terrible. And don't get the happy joys much. I don't get hangovers, just stay drunk, Chipmunk. I see. Too bad you couldn't get an IV without leaving the house for a hangover. What, just to get new source supply of blood in? I suppose that would kind of work. Weezbox 3-phase motor. What? Raymond, my friend's chronic irritable bowel syndrome because he drank lots of cheap sour when he was younger. I suppose the rot gut would actually go there. I think that would actually cause that, though. I'm not really sure. IV for water. No blood, it's saline solution. They just put it into your blood then, or what? Oh, the stitches were last year. Of course, yeah. Chucking a big bag of swerve into the bin a bit hooked into the skin didn't release until there's 1.5 inch gash in the palm of the hand. That's not so good. Oh. I don't think a lot of people go out much more. Certainly here in Isle of Man, a lot of pubs have been closing down. They've been, I think a lot of people stay at home and play games with their friends and chat with their friends while they're playing the games and have a drink at home because it's a lot cheaper. Steve-O did a vodka IV, Andy Racked. That would not surprise me. I wonder if it was real. A friend just posted a picture of his wife's fingers after she tried to clear out the lawnmower by putting her finger underneath while it was running. God, she's not going to do that again. Her little pink gloves are ruined and the nails are off. Oh, there's your first gory horror story. Pubs are still there, but it seems like dance bars are gone. Do you know the worst thing about going to a nightclub was actually going home afterwards. It's such a downer coming out of it. All right. Numi, no more gory stories. Are the things that I've ordered or have arrived? Did I do the Communion when we passed the hour? I don't think I did. Let me think. Oh, I know. To the furries for being respectable. Now, what have I got here? What have I got recently that's arrived that I've got to take apart? Quite a lot. Could do videos like pile of stuff with Mailbag Monday. I like those. I should do the mailbag videos. Just what's arrived and what people have sent. Mr. Margie, I like the phone review. I'd be tempted if I hadn't a newish phone. So here's the thing. It's currently listed in AliExpress at £250 inclusive. And yet the sensor, if you buy the pt2 thermal imaging plug-in dongle for your phone, it's like £200. Wonder how much it actually costs the module. I would expect it's quite a significant part of the phone cost. Mike Page, we're never going to be respectable. One of my favourite tunes of the past, Mel and Kim. Dave Ward. Yeah, I'm not going to read that one out. That is squirmy. Take or leave the spatune. Yes, I like that. I like the video as well. Companies complete a vodka yard is definitely a bad idea, but probably wouldn't be a fatal dose of alcohol, Craig Matthews. I don't think you'd be drinking more than one in the night, though. I cringe out to see MSC Mortsk putting his engine into a car engine fan. Indeed, Jerry BVR. People are always having a go at South Main Auto, Eric O, about the fact he wears a black hoodie with the little cord dangling down there saying, one day it's going to get in a fan belt and you're going to get sucked into the engine and killed. And he's like, well, it's not happened yet. That means that when you've said that, it's potentially going to happen. Just before you buy a doogie, just make sure that it is going to work on your network in America. Just America, apparently. Just America, a lot of the networks, it's not going to be compatible. I don't know why. Strange that. But even if you find out it's not compatible with your network, you can still use it on Wi-Fi as a little mini tablet, and it's still very useful. I mean, the phone I use for recording videos and taking the macro photos, they're two separate phones, and they're just on Wi-Fi. They've never had a SIM in them. Scruff Dog, my work hoodie is strings, it's all good. Yeah, but do you have many high-speed fan belty type things in your equipment? Eric is so cuddly. Yes, Echo the Husky. He's a stroller daddy, as they say. We used to have to wear ties at work until workplace health and safety stopped management enforcing it. I guess there's moving parts then, Mr. Margie. Ties are a bad idea. You get the clip-on ones that come off if they're snatched. Forklifts have small, very large engines as well as high-speed electric motors. Aha. The hoodie, though, it's the classic attire for work. It's a great for work. Hooded sweatshirts. I once woke up with a hangover and no string in my hoodie. I'd removed it in the middle of the night for some reason. Did you find it, Andrew Ack? Did you dream about eating pasta? Shondremain, when I started out repairing shredder, got my tie caught, industrial shredder just like out of Gremlins. Lovely. Was it dramatic? Lots of emergency stops. I was working at 280 yesterday with a Cummins 4.5 QSB net with DEF systems issues. I worked for a while at Cummins Engineering Shots doing the electrics of the actual new buildings. It was interesting because our site office, our shed and stores were at the other end of the building. So you had to walk along the machine shop floor, and it was just basically rows of people at machines getting their turn at drilling a hole in the particular thing. Yeah, folks, pulse to DTMF adapters, so you can use a dial tone and it actually sends the DTMF tone. I didn't even know those existed. They're about $100. Not really surprised. It's quite a specialist item. Sudden memories of bypassing the payphones using a tone keypad. Naughty. Done for science. Weezer box. I've got all these accidents. Safety at work is important. It doesn't matter how much safety that they've overdone the safety. Actually, it's just become a bit of a chore. Ooh. Yep, school payphone, cheap one-piece phone with croc clips. Oh, you're just bypassing it completely. No, I used to use the tone trick when, because the early payphones, electronic payphones, they had a database inside for the cost, and when you dialed in the keypad, it basically just looked at the buttons you were pressing as well as pulse dialing to the exchange. So if you stuck the DTMF over the mouthpiece and you basically just dialed your number, it would put you through, but it wouldn't let you listen. It would only do the microphone bit. So after that, you had to then go on the actual payphone, dial 99, and then it thought you were dialing the emergency number and put you through, but the exchange itself ignored the extra 2 digits. It was very useful. Almost got caught by the police. And then the thing stopped working directly the day after that police vehicle turned up outside the payphone while I was using it. Very awkward, very worrying. Yes. Oh well. These things happen. I've always said that the people who are phone hackers usually ended up working in the phone industry. Raven, I remember you could make a fake CompuServe account using a credit card number journal. They wouldn't notice for 3 days. Excellent. Tonimus Maximus, just a little bit late, it's fine. Well, I still have a DTM box I used to use for freaking mine. Bobby Yorks was my... I don't know if blue box is the right name for it, but it was actually physically blue. It is probably still is somewhere. It was for use with Macs. The Halifax's very early voice recognition banking system in the old days, which did not understand Scottish accents, so you had to use the DTMF tone keypad. Please repeat. No. Do people still have a landline phone? No. Hold on, Mr. Margie, that is a good one. Start a poll. Hold on. Do you still have a landline phone? That's the one you plug into the wall, as opposed to the cordless phone. I got rid of mine ages ago because all you got was marketing calls on it. Only way I get internet is via landline, the chipmunk, really. Ralph's still on the landline, but he's got my old 4G router, which I'm still paying for. I hope he appreciates it. You could get fibre optic now, I think. Oh, Echo the Husky, it's a rotary phone too. A vintage rotary phone. Craig Matthew, you don't have a particularly strong accent. Did your parents have more prominent accents? No, I wouldn't really say so. I'm not really sure. I don't know why my accent is not stereotypical Glaswegianish. Sean says, my landline is VoIP-based running over a 4G connection. Ah. French phone is an internet box. Oh, of course, they're not so proud. The French were the first with their little, almost like internet with a little cathode ray tube in it and stuff like that, I think. What did they call that system? It was really like way ahead of its time. Craig Matthews are not the only one with a full-on private phone exchange in our house. One of my friends has one as well. He's got a dedicated shed in his garden just for the exchange. Power consumption must be notable. Minitel, that's the one, Luxor Labs. Give it some Ned, Pie Man. No, pure fucking magic, pal. I have to put my Burberry cap on, the one I bought at the Barras for about £3. Ah. I do well on my just 4G connection on the phone. It's not really noticeable that I'm not on. Well, the fibre optic improved things here, but the 4G is pretty good in Glasgow. It wasn't for a while. And I thought they were just because they were switching to 5G, but the 4G turned up again. Shane Minatel's dead and never made it out of EU. Kind of replaced by the internet, Luxo Labs. Some weird consoles also sold in the UK that they were for people with hearing problems, that they could just send messages on a keyboard and a single line display. I bought one. Tried it on a bulletin board. It didn't really work that well. How's self-coverage out in the country? Here, on the other hand, it's not too bad, actually. It's got better. It's like everything else, it's got better over time. Oh, you had 270 phones, the chipmunk. I have a phone that none of you have. Because it's a very, very, very rare phone. I think it's a Plessy phone. And it's made entirely of glow-in-the-dark plastic. It was a very small quantity. It was an award-winning phone that was for emergency use that you could find it. Not sure what conditions it in. I don't think the plastic was time stable. Whatever happened to the rabbit phone system, that's what you call 3, Steve Perry. It was the foundation for 3, probably. And ultimately, it's become 5G. I can't show you it. I've not got it here, Craig Matthews. Can show you it in Glasgow. Around about next week-ish. It's not radium. It's the older technology. It's not strontium aluminate. It's the old zinc oxide type thing. A glow-in-the-dark phone. New Ninja, there used to be a YouTube channel called Andy Sheddy Collected Telephones. I wonder what happened. Does Ralph offer sell packages to parties? He probably could, Peter Stevens. People would probably buy them. Andrew, I stayed at a hotel in France and the cathode ray tube TV had a glow-in-the-dark case. That's quite odd. Quite stylish in a way. So the answer was to that poll, which I've just remembered is running. The answer coming up, 52% still have a landline phone. That is a surprise. I've not had one in a long time. The old trim phone dial did glow in the dark, and that's proud. Also, certain phones, like one called Hollywood, had LEDs that glowed very gently, powered from the landline. Does the beer taste it? It's got a little bit more bite to the beer. Now it's been fortified with spirit. I just got so sick in Glasgow of the landline just being, every time it rang, I just knew it was another telesales call. And it was just, basically, it was too often, so I just got rid of it. I'm just waiting to see what. Now, I'm trying to think what else has arrived recently. What comes to mind that has arrived recently that I've not featured yet or given previews of? Not sure. Oh, I know. This very colourful, it's lovely colours. 48 watt power supply, is it? I think it's 48 watt. Do you really think it's 48 watt? I very much doubt it's 48 watt. What's this electrical separation going to be like inside? That is also a question worth asking. It's quite big, but having said that, I've heard that some of these may contain steel weights. Matt Tealshire has now carbonated himself. Really? My wife can't hear on the mobile very well. She takes calls on the landline. All right, Dom, right. You do get a little landline that plugs into your mobile. Our illuminated phones had to have a wall wart. No, this one didn't. Can you forward Barry Shep my email address via Patreon message? Not sure. I'm not sure. I don't know if you can message each other or not. Really not sure. That's definitely not going to provide 48 watts. Well, MGPS, I'm going to guess I'm going to guess it's a standard 5-volt supply. It does claim to have 3.1 amp outputs, and does it have fast charge? I'm not really sure. Oh, it's got a specification plate on it. One moment to get a magnifying glass. Magnifying glass. Output 5 volt, 3.1 amp, 9 volt, 2.4 amp, 12 volt, 1.8 amp. Does it have any of those? Place your bets now. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to be fine. It has colours. That's the main thing. It's very colourful. I quite like that aspect of it. Always fun seeing those being stripped down and confirmed, yes. Maybe a high voltage test on it, perhaps. Oh, excuse me. Does Clive have a tester to change voltage? I have a little thing that will dupe it into sending the other voltage. Or I could plug an expensive phone into it. The British GP went for tritium capsules. I do remember tritium being used in some devices. Was that the trim phones? Can't remember. The classic trim phone. Very distinctive noises. The difference two different things, the colours just for visual pleasure. What's the bet they're on parallel on the back? We'll find out when I open it. It must be expensive though, because it's got the plastic wrap around it, you know, just to give it that feel that, you know, it's something special. I don't think so. The circuitry may reveal something. Can you still get tritium keychains? You can still go on eBay and buy tritium, the L-Monk, but the price depends on how fashionable it is at this particular time. You used to be able to get whole emergency lights that were illuminated by tritium. Was it expensive? No. That's a clue. What's the time, says Lids? That means it's fire time again. Stand by for a woofle. Woofling. Oh, so hot now in summer. Well, summerish. Woofle. Because TT time is approaching, that's the TT road races, the government, well, the Department of Infrastructure, they are currently working on the roads, getting everything 100% and safe, and all the Manx people are going, moan, 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 moan. Everything they do, it doesn't matter what they do, they moan. It's full of grumpy old people. Do you have advice now to buy nail polish without getting weird looks? Craig Matthews, yes. Hold on. You go up to the counter with your glitter nail polish, right? And you go, oh, I can't wait to try this on my nails. It's fabulous. This is very good for effects and stuff like that. It's really nice painted in glass. You can also paint it in circuit boards. I'm not sure why I've got glitter nail polish. It's right next to the clear nail polish I use for things. But yeah, just buy it. They don't actually give a shit. They're not going to go, oh, I bet his nails are going to look lovely. The downside of tritium, I don't do my nails. I bite them. Does that count? I'm not really sure. And sometimes I take the Dremel to them. Does that also count? Liz is off to bed. Good night, Liz. They have hill climbs in the roads in France and pay for the whole village to go on holiday. Really, Pie Man? That sounds like a time that the place is going to get raided. Certain areas of the Isle of Man do get closed off during the TT. I think they're changing the track slightly, the route. I'm not really sure. Tell him it's for the dog. It could be Rifleman. It's for my mum. Never take a Dremel to tritium. No. There's a tiny, tiny quantity of the radioactive gas in it. It's a radioactive isotope of hydrogen. Dremel fingernails, that's a new one. It just makes them nice and smooth at the ends. Sometimes I'll even Dremel the hard skin down. Do they give posthumous awards in the TT for distance thrown? No, Peter Stevens, but you do end up immortalised on YouTube. Neil, I also use the side cutters in the nails. They're all useful tools for keeping them so short you can't actually do anything with them, but I just hate long nails. Dremeling claws to stand big dogs, it seems. That's reasonable enough, Matt. I use clear nail polish in the front wheels of my slot cars. Reduces friction. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I use it in circuit boards for dabbing in areas that tracking could occur where there's no slots. Craig Matthews, I was speaking to a family friend who's a nail salon artist person, whatever they're called. manicurist or something. She was horrified when I said I took wire cutters to my nails. That's what men do. Weezabox, I hate having long nails and bangs. Wasn't tritium used in initiator something in H-bombs? I don't think so. I'm not really sure. Not an expert in H-bombs. Glitter nail polish. It's probably not suitable for insulating circuit boards, hurrah. I don't use the glitter stuff. I use clear nail polish. Just be ready for a pish. What did I miss? Well, it depends how long your pish was, Horavac. We're talking about nail varnish and tritium, but not combined together. Tracking curve with new slots. No slots, Weaselbox. If I design a circuit board that's going to be switching high voltage with a relay or something like that, or has electrical contacts paced of each other, I'll put a slot through the circuit board so that the carbon can't track across. But some circuit boards you get that don't have that, you can put nail varnish on as a kind of crude conformal coating just in that area, but not glitter nail varnish. Bangs equal fringe. Tony Weavers, I have an ancient tin of RS transformer lacquer. I can almost smell it just saying it in the shed. It's rock hard now. One of the places I used to work had the electronics department next to the motor rewind department. All you got was the smell of solvents and the lacquers they used. Scary department. They made the lights dip quite a lot. And they blew the main fuse on more than one occasion. It was dramatic. You went a bit odd for a second. I'm always odd, DC on. Why not real conformal coating? It's usually just, I keep tins of conformal coating, but ultimately, I just occasionally, if I'm stuck without conformal coating, I'll just use whatever I can get. It's easier to go to a local shop and buy nail varnish it is to get a proper conformal coating. Onset glitter with HV across, I'm not sure what that would have effect. Don't know. Yes, DGS, they used an A-bomb as the trigger. Rock hard means solid like a rock. Solid like a rock. Do 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 do. Fan plant. Oh my god, I made it indeed. Yes. We're still here. Had a power cut here today for 2 hours. That's quite a long time, Echo the Husky. Not really had much in the power cuts, except at my brother's place when I was looking after my mum. Occasionally you'd get power cuts there, because it was in the countryside with overhead lines. Mind you, I'm fed with overhead lines here, but those ones were across fields and trees would occasionally get entangled with them. Just going to sniff this nail varnish. Not going to get it in the beard. Yeah, it's solvent. That is correct, yes. Fan plant going to vape some cannabis. Aha. I sang Solid as a Rock on the karaoke, Nuts and Proud says. Ashford and Simpson, was it not? Was it Ashford and Simpson? It was. Not Forest, Rock the Boat. Rock the boat. Do, 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 do. Such nice classics from that era. Paint a pinky? No. I'm not going to put nail varnish on because I'll have to get it off with solvent afterwards. And we don't want to get solvent in my hands, except, yeah, I do. To ourselves, the fresh study, duration response association between occupational exposure and pancreatic cancer risk at meta-analysis. That's interesting, Gavar. A toenail pinky. Our study suggests a non-additional risk of pancreatic cancer for occupational exposure is less than 1 year, but an increase of 39% risk for exposure duration of 21 to 30 years. Now, part of me wonders, people in a factory environment where they're just exposed to solvents all the time, is part of the life expectancy reduction down to the fact that they're just basically not really having a great life if they've been stuck in a factory for a long time? Nuts Proud, I sang parody solid as a cock. I see. Disco is my era. Yappy Fox. Really? This might be a cultural thing, Yappy. Because, you're younger than me, I think. And yet, I grew up in the EDM era. It was all electronic dance music. You may have chosen disco, but having said that, America didn't go through the EDM the same way that Europe did. Grimshaw, what's like Trike Clive, who, me in a past life? What? Survey. Survey. I mean, what would that cover, Mike? EDM. Would it just be yes or no, did you grow up EDM or disco? Really? You guys are not that old. I'm 58 and I grew up in EDM. And synthesizers. It may be more Glasgow. Do you think so, Chipmunk? I think it may be more the whole Britain. House music might be a better description when I grew up. But electronic music was coming in. The first full-on electronic music was Gary Newman, Our Friends Electric. And then, of course, Pump Up the Volume. Kind of like turned out it had been earlier. And all the electronic games and stuff like that, it all introduced the square wave 8-bit era. Wasn't EDM predominantly Dutch? I'm not really sure. I don't know how you'd class that. It's certainly, I mean, there's a lot of disco around that time on top of the pops, but I'm not really sure. Yes, DCL and I have not tried EDM on lots of speed. I'm just playing with this nail varnish now. I better put it out the way before I do end up putting it on a nail. I'm not sure how long it takes to cure. Something did arrive. One moment. You can tell it's shipped well when it arrives like this. But that's okay, because it is the shape. Oh, Mouse has posted a link to the Fundy Poppet show, in which there was a technical malfunction at the beginning. I was waiting, they were going like, maybe we'll get a Clive, and I was waiting to appear, and then I was going to start talking when I appeared, but I didn't realise they didn't have video. They thought I'd blocked the video, but I hadn't. It's nail varnish curer, perfect for curing your ultraviolet cured things. Quite a lot of the LEDs inside. And it says 48 watt. It says 48 watt. Hold on. Let me just find out what it says here. That's in Chinese. That's in Chinese. One nail salon, one sun one. 2-in-1 LED UV lamp, sunshine non-harmful, non-blacken UV LED, 48 watt power. But the power supply, where is the data in this? Let me see if I can find it. LED, 30 pieces strategically placed LEDs, no dead zone, more free. Where's it says dual wavelength, 365 and 405 nanometer. That would be interesting what it was. How do you prove that? Where's the data about the power supply? Oh, right, so 48 watts, 5 volts at 2 amps. That's 10 watts. If it even draws that. I don't think it does. So good for, it comes a USB lead plus this jack on the back for that. And you've got buttons that set at the time duration, and it is putting out ultraviolet type light. Oh, I should put it back in its bag. We'll open it up at some point. What do you reckon? Going to be lots of separate circuit boards, do you reckon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 circuit boards? Maybe 8, or do you think the buttons are on the same one as the one underneath for the LEDs? We shall crowdfund Clive a spectrometer. That would be a very expensive thing, particularly if it has to go into the ultraviolet spectrum, especially if it was one like God, what's that channel with the big magnets and things? And he also has like the UVC capable spectrometer connected to the computer. That looks expensive. Would I use it enough? I guess I don't think it will be flexible, but you could be right, Numi. One PCB and flexible tape, I'm not sure. Like, I'm guessing it's maybe made as one circuit board, but then snapped into bits. I'm not really sure. We'll find out when we open it. I'll test it in ultraviolet curing resin. What's the likelihood that order UV LEDs are actually UV and not purple? Craig Matthews, very slim. Even the ones that are ultraviolet will potentially glow, make their plastic glow. Would it affect the skin? Gav Kit, well, there is this thing that supermodels sticking their hand under the ultraviolet lights are saying it's giving them finger cancer. But that could also be the fact that they slabber lots of chemicals all over their fingers all the time. Every day they're putting multiple layers on, and that's not going to be good. And they're soaking it off in solvent. That's not great. And probably doing crack and other things because they're supermodels and excessive quantities of laxatives. Get a nice tan in the hands while you wait for your nails to dry. It is in the region of UVA, so it could technically give you do that. Hold on, I'll put it through. Because it is UVA. It used to be using the facial solariums by Philips. I've got one of those that I got just because I thought it was interesting to take apart. But I got it secondhand ages ago. But it uses the same tubes as the insectocutors because they're UVA, which is the same as the black light blue, but without the blue glass, so it comes as a bright blue light. Someone mentioned, I pronounced this wrong apparently, it's Volkslicht, not Volkslicht, it's Volkslicht, these lamps. Someone pointed the red and the black as significant, red, white and black, because it's promoted by a newspaper called Build that does all these folks products, and it's like the UK Sun, which has ladies with their tits out in page 2 or 3, and it just basically it's all propaganda and Nazi type stuff. I didn't know they had stuff like that, but then that's the media industry, isn't it? Have you had many facials? I've never had a facial, Echo the Husky. I like techno subset of electrical discharge machining. They're interesting machines, Matt. Very precise. I ordered purple LEDs maybe. Hopefully they're not UV. Sometimes they are, Gav Kit. You just really don't know what you're getting. The picture will not necessarily represent what you get. Red, black, white, the colours of the NDAP. I don't know what that is. Rifleman. Generic right-wing toilet rag, Marcus Strangle. It matches the Sun in the UK, I think, or the Daily Mail. Just misleading information, gossip, and boobies. On young girls, as soon as they hit the legal age, it's get their tops off and show them with their... It's basically child exploitation, really. I got in touch with Barry Shepherd, okay. Ah, right, okay. That's proud. So I wonder how many people were in the virtual lounge on the Fundy Poppet show. They've got a sort of, I'm not really sure how that works. Interesting. A club for people for the convenience of their own home, almost like Second Life. Daily Mail is Nazi first, then the rest. See their history. Oh, I don't really know the history of these, but I remember that they used to really be really malicious material. We just got Sam Fox. Yes, you did. Nothing gonna stop me now. Had fun on Fun Day Sunday. Indeed. Looks a popular event. Bungie's got me another 30 to 40 in VR chat there. That's quite a decent amount. Daily Mail was pro-Hitler till World War II broke out. I didn't know that. Now it's pro-government. Blech. Would you ever consider shaving off your beard? No, I would not, Dan Gleeballs. The beard is here to stay. It would look very odd without the beard. Daily Mail once claimed that foxes like to drink car brake fluid. Well, to be fair, Raven Linney, they do tend to drink, all animals tend to drink antifreeze, the ethylene glycol stuff, unfortunately, because it's sweet. Can you get HTTPS for your website? Let's Encrypt give free SSL certificates. Nuts proud. There already is an HTTPS certificate on it. Nuts and proud. If you type in HTTPS bigcloud.com, you will find that it is now secure and missing all the watermarks on the images. It was done through my provider. All I had to do apparently was enable it, but I cleaned the whole website up in the process. Most of it. Not all of it yet. Weezerbox, don't shave the beard. I won't be shaving it. Beards are important. 40 is about the technical limit, the VR chat lounge. That's reasonable enough. Yappy Fox. I suppose it would just start slowing down after that. I did notice the movement was rather odd, but then that's just... Does Emerson Colley go there and Spats Bear? I'm pretty sure they've kind of been in a VR environment like that. You have DigiCert now. Dunno. It's what they call a wildcard security certificate that will cover other domains under that contract. Tony Weaver's had a beard for years and I shaved it. It was like losing an arm. It feels very strange. When I look, no cert. Try again, Nuts Proud. It's secure now. Mainly, George Philpott, the wife, said good night. Good night to your wife. Mainly because, amongst other things, like anytime you went to the page, it would say, warning, hackers may be accessing your data. And it's a bit worrying when stuff like that happens. And it's completely unnecessary. But also, if people followed the link saying, buy me a coffee, it would go, warning, hackers are trying to intercept this. And then they'd probably go, well, fuck that then. So that's one of the reasons. Also, I wanted to get rid of the watermarks on the pictures by just changing every single link to a file of the images in the website. DigiCert is provider of certificate. That could be it. Bobby Yorks, I used to have a jet black beard, shaved it off and it started going grey and looked 10 years younger. The grey adds a certain element of maturity, but do keep in mind that the grey probably started at the bottom, was it? You could have just dyed that out, just with jet black dye. You wouldn't need to do it too often, probably. Cleanup is necessary, Weezerbox, on the website or what? Nuts Proud is SSL free from Let's Encrypt renews every 90 days. The certificate I get is provided by the provider of the website, the website host. Seeing the Bud Light can reminds me of a news story that nearly nobody is buying at American baseball games. Jason Green, that is the power of the media, whipping up attention from themselves. So it's not just build then. I look 10 years younger than my real age, apparently, if I shave. I look younger as well, baby-faced, when you see me without the beard. So that's not happening. What your stash at? The stash is off temporarily. Oh, the stash. Some SSL cost you £100 a year. No, it's including the contract, which is quite a bit for the hosting package. For serious use, you'd have to go for something serious. Bungie Scott, I just received a so-called UVC LED bulb, sanitation bulb, but the test paper you featured here did not activate UV or UVC. Is it LED or is it a discharge lamp? Like a mercury tube? Chipmunk, if I don't shave for 3 days, I go all tramp. Tramp is good. Glad you're not getting ripped off. I don't think I'm getting ripped off. Hair dye seems obligatory for Japanese businessmen and the Muslimy type barbers, Jerry BVR. It's standard, the Turkish and others. It's standard that they touch up the roots with black dye while they're doing your hair and beard. Can you get Moosehead Green over there? Never heard of it. I'm off to watch the rest stream in bed. Reason off, Tony. Got no sound, Fortescue Gimlet says. He'll soon realise he has to refresh. So here's a question. Why does not just the Doogie S98 Pro, but other phones don't work in many of the American networks? What is so special about them? What's different about them? Nuts proud that's a dead link. Ah. Clive says, relax, indeed. Next bottle of Bud Light. Do I have to put a wig on now? Next can of Bud Light. Radios in the phone. Frequency allocation. Okay, CDMA. So I wonder why America's different from the rest of the world in that way. Well, there again, America is different from the rest of the world. Oh, one of the frequency view in Europe is military use in the US, so they replace it with a different one. Boo! I'd just take my UK one over there and use it in the military frequencies. What's the worst could happen? I'll put this through. I've also done my duty by checking on my elderly black neighbour. Her lights are on, so it's fine. They'll go off later on. She's fine. Not sure what I'll do when the lights aren't on. I'll be like, oh no! Military don't need radio. Yes. Well, there's no towers listening to that frequency, so no one will hear you, Clive. Maybe set up my own. Maybe not. Not sure what I'd do. My 3 network will work in America. But limited. I don't know what I'd do for data. If I went a trip to Las Vegas, what's the best way to get data allowance in America? I suppose you can buy data sims. Hopefully not ones that trick you into signing up to contracts. Power Narwin, good night, Clive. Tech finally got to go to an appointment to see medication review and referral for brain scan. They may find a brain. Hope everything goes well there. That sounds a bit ominous. I'm glad you do that, Clive. It shows community spirit. Dad just entered assisted living today. At least he is allowed out as wanted and allowed a few drinks. That's good. Peter Stevens. Joe, something is horrible. Oops, when's the Vegas trip? I want to come. I've not planned anything yet, Electroshed, but I've been looking at it. I've discovered the Deuce. I would say Deuce, but it's Deuce apparently. The Deuce bus. It looks really interesting. And it goes from the airport to all the accommodation. Looks pretty good. When does the streaming finish? Probably in quarter of an hour, at 1:15. So, say 16 minutes. Prepaid SIMs are just burner phones. Luxor Labs, when you come to Vegas, let me know. I'll come throw rocks at you and scream, "Get off my lawn." What? Is that where you're based? You can get National Sims, but I need one moment to grab some more wood for the fire. Craig Matthews. The 3 will work. You get an allowance if you go to America. But the Deuce looks like almost like a tour trip of Las Vegas. So horrible incident happened in America not that long ago. It's currently going through courts, I think. An old elevator mechanic just at retirement age. He'd been out to work an elevator that turned out to be needed re-roped, refurbished. And it looks like he took the governor off, which is a bit taboo, because he bought another one to replace it, didn't fit. And he thought, well, it's going to get refurbished anyway, but he left it off. And the overspeed governor is the bit that is the auxiliary rope going down the shaft. And if it goes too fast, it locks that rope and it pulls on the brakes on the elevator. And the other thing, and it's just making me think, this guy must have had mental Jaeger time. That will happen shortly then, Nigel Wright. I'm not sure what the heck was going on. Dementia comes to mind for this number of errors. The guy, they were cutting the ropes. What they do is they take the counterweight down to the bottom of the shaft, the elevator at the top, they chain it up, they basically sling it up so it can't drop, obviously, and then they cut the ropes. So there was an overspeed governor, and there's nothing holding the elevator up, and he sent the apprentice down to cut the ropes. And you're thinking, what the fuck? So many errors. Like, really, so many errors. That's not normal. It killed the apprentice at the bottom of the shaft when the lift dropped on him. And I'm just thinking, that guy who's now retired could spend the rest of his life in jail. Was it dementia? Pretty scary. Very odd. So many errors. It just doesn't sound normal for some reason. On that note, 2 lift engineers. Elevator mechanics. Sorry, I should have said elevator mechanics. Lift, elevator. So basically speaking, that kid, that apprentice, well, it could be an older apprentice, was cutting the ropes, and the last one, the rope, that last one was holding the lift up above him, nothing to stop it coming down on him. Chipmunk, I'm worried about that. I'm having memory issues. I left the cover off a fuse box at a customer's house. That can happen. It's so easy to overlook things. I once went into I was putting lighting up in a bakery, and I left all the ceiling tile in a big stand and put the ceiling back up, and it's like, how did I not do that? I then had to go back the next day and do it. It was very odd. I'm surprised it didn't twig the rope being under tension. It could have been under tension, then dropping onto the slings, Echo the Husky. It's very strange. To lift be work with long shafts and small boxes, indeed. You know, that's the other thing, you ninja, or a 24-hour shift, or just family problems, not sleeping well. Because, I used to do weird things when I was working long hours. I'd fall asleep working on electrical equipment and fall into panels with all the fucking live gear in them, which was just not good. Or that time I've mentioned in the past that I was working wiring a refrigeration case in a supermarket, and I fell asleep because of just ridiculous hours, and then just woke up long enough holding one lead of test leads to just randomly poke the other one into a live connection. And then I woke up and it glowed while I was waking up. It happened about 1990, Raven Looney. Oh, it just went, not potato vision, but super jumpy vision. This is why I don't work in systems that have single-person points of failure resulting in death. I'm not covered by some sort of group company responsibility, Matt Hailshire. It's all about liability transfer these days. It's all a bit grim. Not sleeping well messes with everything. It does indeed. Latency test. 1, 2, so less than 2 seconds, he said, spitting on the phone. Have you ever done that thing that there's something really critical? It was the meter set to amps, it was set a test lamp, so it was going to pass quite a bit of current, but there wasn't an easy path to ground, just my sweaty shoulder up against, with overalls on against the metal panel. It was enough of a shock to wake me up. But have you ever done that thing that you say, connected, bypassing, circuit board set to bypass, and you just talk it loudly as you're going through it, just double checking before you do it, and you'll do it multiple times before you actually commit yourself. And Clev woke up, lazy bugger, sleep. What's that then? Have you met my 24/7 cat? Grameshaw. That was sleep due to like 4 to 8 hour shifts. The hours were terrible. It's also the source of many programming errors. You can't program while you're tired or under pressure, Peter Stevens. The people that say, I'm putting a deadline in this, you've got to have it done for that time, that's totally counterproductive. According to Centre for Construction Research Train, roughly 30 people in the United States are killed by elevators and escalators each year. Most of those are people working on them, Dave Ward. That's how people died in the day of knife switching panels. People would stumble. Oh, it glitched. My first day of my apprenticeship was installing equipment like that. It was the old knife switch panels, but they were putting plastic plates in front of them, so you could still operate it easily, but it was protected against falling against them. SpaceX, an incident a few weeks back, big shower of sparks as the elevator weights crashed down the tower. No one seemed to bother. It was a routine event. That's not a routine event. Although, the Armadillo in Glasgow, while we were doing the installation in that, the company that was doing the fire curtain is a big metal shutter that comes down. It's got counterbalance weights. Oh, it's glitched. And when it's triggered, in an event of a fire, it will isolate the auditorium from the stage. And the guys that were working on it, one of them was standing with sling. The weights were held up by slings, and he was standing on this stack of weights, and then he just stepped off, and as soon as he stepped off, the sling snapped, and it went down inside the channel, and there's this massive boom that shook the whole building. Very scary. He was very close to having a terrible experience there. Sleep is very important, but the more stress you're under, the less you sleep. And it's kind of a vicious circle, isn't it? Graham Shaw, Deja Vu. I think that was Daspers that did that one. Best thing for programmers is when managers fuck off and leave you to it. Exactly, Mike Page. The hardest bit of software I wrote, and it was nowhere near what it should have been, was the day before, but just because deadlines had been moved, things had been changed, things were asked for, and it was the day before they were filming on a television series, and it was like, it was a Shoebox Zoo, and it was the Mask of Knowledge, which was this big, huge helmet thing that glowed, which was nothing like the original picture, and used so much power and so many fucking LEDs, nothing like the original specification. Big, huge power supply, and the software for it, I ended up under the pressure, lack of sleep. I wrote some software, pulse modulated intensity at very high frequency, just so it didn't cause problems with cameras. But it was just not as smooth as it could have been. It did good smooth ramping, but the menus, if you switch from one mode to another, it didn't do so in a smooth and controlled manner because there was just no time. Just deadlines. Tell me about it later. Fire curtains sound awesome in my head at Scruff Dog. You also get the drench systems, Weasel Box, which sometimes go off in theatres. That's not good. It just floods water down them. Oh, Scruff Dog, I used to install this fire curtain. Did you? That's quite an odd job. Big, heavy metal plates. And also, they did asbestos and fiberglass ones as well. I remember being at one venue, and the guy said, I could show you the asbestos fire curtain. I was like, I don't really want you to show me the asbestos fire curtain because that means bring it in its fabric. And he said, no, bring it in, it's fine. And I think he just wanted to see my reaction to him bringing in the asbestos fire curtain. It was most likely chrysotile white asbestos, but it was like, I'd rather you didn't, actually. Don't. Yeah, he did. But anyway, theatres. Magnus Franzson all over again. What? I'm waiting for some PCBs from JCB for a 235 power ghost repeller. Oh, right, a 230 volt AC power ghost repeller. So a nightlight, in other words. Fire curtains are not as glamorous as you think. Do you know the worst thing is? They're heavy steel shutters, and they're supposed to come down really fast and then stop. Scruff Dog will know something about this. They're supposed to stop just short of the stage and then sink the rest of the way. But people were killed by them. If they came down during a performance and someone wandered into the area of the fire curtain, it would come down, it would basically just flatten them. Weren't they called irons? I think they were flying in the iron. Yeah. Ghost Repeller sounds much less tame. It does. So you guys, well, you're the patrons, so you know. What did you think of the two recent build projects? The LED lamp one, and what was the other one that I did recently? Oh, what did I build recently? What was the most recent videos? Not sure. I make so many videos. But there are a couple of build videos. Yeah, slow down by 8 feet high, then 10 seconds still close. Yeah, see the slowdown, that 8 feet high, the guy I worked with did not think that. He was pretty much 2 feet off the stage, which is too low. I think that's what he set them to, which was definitely a killer. They were heavy things. That's a weird career you've had, Scruff Dog, but then again, you're not the only one there, are you? We've all had weird careers. There was fire curtain around the Super Trooper carbon arc. Supercomputer light. Oh, the supercomputer light. Oh, you've not seen that, Rick Dastardly. I'll go and get the supercomputer light. The supercomputer light was this. Hold on, I'll plug it in. It's going to take a while to start supercomputing. It's just at the moment, it's just basically mostly flashing. Medius Computer's Firefly project, not totally impressed by that. It looks good in video. I don't think it would look as good in real life, but it looks okay. I need to do more builds, don't I? I've kind of moved away from that to just purely doing teardowns. Oh, the heating pads, that's the one. Yeah, the low voltage, the 5 volt heating pads. Well, someone said I should stick it across 240. Yes. Is it here yet? Yes, it is. It's more or less here. Slight shimmer. But the supercomputer LED lamp, some of the lamps are static, the LEDs are static because of the way it's wired. Looks like Starship launch, it does, but it doesn't leave as big a crater underneath. No, if it was a Starship launch, a big sections would have gone out, the bits are blown out by bits of debris. Fortescue, given that I've had a weird career, the best careers to have are the weird ones. So how did you end up doing fire curtains? Scruff Dog, that's quite odd. You can see the refresh or it's an illusion. The slight flicker, Peter Stevens, is the fact it's an AC power supply is running from 240 volts. Weezbox, mental exhaustion from trying to build a thing, ran into issues, but that's called a workaround. Yes. Would you think about doing an iFixit phone screen repair review? I'm interested in how good they actually are. I've never really thought of that, Brenton Sword. I've not got anything to repair. I have replaced a screen in a phone before. The one that came through, it was one of the Moto phones that I used to use, and the screen got cracked in it with explosives. But that one, When I replaced the screen, it was one off eBay. I'm not sure what was the problem there. There was also kind of self-adhesive electrical screening straps that didn't quite stick back on, and I couldn't find replacements for them. And it just had problems with hum after that, so I stopped using it. Starship, copying the Russian N1 with N1 results. Oh, right, okay. Prototype. At least with Elon, you can make just huge, expensive prototypes that blow up. So it is now 15:15. I'll give you your choice. I installed theatre rigging systems and staging setups, counterweight and electric winch systems, worked in new schools, some major theatre renovations. Ah, we have something in common, Scruff Dog. I used to do work with Northern Light doing theatre equipment in schools, including all the curtain tracks and trusses, and maintaining fly systems. I changed screen motor G4, worked fine, use hot air to melt glue, indeed. I'd use the heated pad I've got here, the platform, to do it. Scruff Dog, we did curtains too. Big heavy curtains. People don't realise, Scruff Dog, that the tabs, they're just weigh a ton. They weigh an absolute ton. And you've got those little ties at the top in the track that you have to support the weight of the curtain until they're all in, because if you don't, if you try doing it one by one, it will just literally rip them off like a zip. They're heavy, those curtains. Standing at the top of the scaffold, pulling it up, double purchase with a rope to try and get the thing up off the ground. Lovely. I like the curtain systems. The only thing about, actually, I didn't like one aspect of the curtain system. Some of the old winch controllers with their strange cam systems that you had to set up and with no data, because they were old existing systems and they'd had an incident. And initially, like, there was no slow speed in the winch; it just went at full speed, and because they were just old. And you're thinking, oh, please stop your hand emergency stop button just when it's supposed to not slow down, when it's supposed to stop. If it didn't, it would just slam into the end of the track. I had one incident that it literally tried to rip the curtain through the end of the track. It was delightful. And another one that I turned up on, the winch had pulled itself right off the wall, which was also lovely. Yeah, those curtains are freaking insane. Even the muslin curtains are heavy. Scruff Dog, the velvety ones were just too heavy. Clam late as usual. That's right, we'll go on a wee bit more. Muslin is quite odd. Scrim is what comes to mind here, but a lot of what we put up were the black felt tabs, what's the word for that? The Melton tabs. Sounds you're hitting the e-brake while your curtain's brakes went out. Weezbox, there was another job we did. It was a designer job. And I didn't do a lot of the installation. It was another older guy who did it. And it was controlled by a PLC. It was programmed by somebody who'd never programmed PLCs before. He was the computer networks administrator. And they just said, program this control system in a PLC. And it was all very fancy. The little wooden doors would open. And the curtain track came through above the wooden doors. The doors would open and all the curtains would all glide out into random positions for the desired setup. And the first time they tried it, the doors were open, the doors closed, and then it tried to drag the curtains through the closed doors. How heavy was heavy? Oh, Craig Matthews, you'd have to feel it. Imagine a curtain that takes 2 or 3 people to carry. And cinema screens on roller cinema screens, those rollers, they're so heavy. We have a fire curtain at work retail and it takes forever to come down. It may do it slowly for safety. A single main curtain could weigh 800 pounds just one side. Never weighed them. I just always put in tons of extra hardware and adjustment to allow for the curtains. Another thing people don't seem to realise, you hang a curtain, but you hang it just short of the floor because they do stretch slightly with time. They have a sort of settling in period. Nuts and proud, I'm not sure I've ever worked in a carbon arc lamp. I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about there. I know the Super Troopers, don't know if they're carbon arc or they're standard discharge. They're mostly gone now, fortunately. I worked in the FA, controlling a stage deluge in an asbestos curtain. Lovely fan plant. Deluge systems basically just chuck bucket loads of water down the curtain or the fire curtain for cooling. And they sometimes trigger them accidentally, and they're usually full of skanky water. Are the curtains treated to avoid them burning into flames with stage pyro? Yes, they are. They're treated with flame bar, or inherently, the black ones at the back are wool, which will not burn inherently. The flame bar is the boron treatment that I effectively use in my own ceiling here. The curtain is supposed to be completely light blocking to a degree, yes. Old 1960 Super Troopers carbon arc. Reasonable enough. Yappy Fox WW, the big screens, perforated but still very, very heavy. I was this stage around for a while too, a couple of rock shows, lots of corporate crap, did a lot of ballet and opera as well. Corporate crap is what pays the bills. It's not glamorous, it's boring, but it pays the bills. Well, Super Trooper, ABBA, that's what it was named after. That's why if you look at the original video, Supapa, Tripapa, it shows the follow spot and the guy in overalls. I think he's got a beard. Might be wrong. I think he has. That is about the Super Trooper. It's about the follow spot. We used to install the motorised curtain screens as well, the motorised screens for cinema and the projectors. Indian projectors, the old xenon projectors. The screen on Cinemagique in Disneyland Paris was massive. And also, it was a special effects screen. The whole screen could slide backwards and forwards behind the stage. You didn't see it sliding, but it's because it had doors in it that could actually, it was on a frame and it had doors that could open up for the actor to enter and exit the stage. Well, he entered and exited the actual video. So you'd see the puff of smoke, and next thing you know, the actor was gone. He'd step back through the screen. And the door had closed, and then he'd be inside the presentation. It's just a holding page, nuts and proud. Reasonable enough. Graham Shaw, drink. I'm drinking. Fan plant, one placed a jolly red manual valve button. It was just there for alt press. They kind of have to have it open, but sometimes people do press it. I wish there was more live music and theatre around here. To be honest, it's not faring well, Rob. It's like, to a degree, yes, but a lot of people are just enjoying online content now. I'm not sure what the future holds. Time for more tequila and tonic if the ice maker has been keeping up. You're going to have to pace yourself with the ice mat. And the orange liqueur for margaritas. I'm not sure what a margarita is. It makes me think of those frozen alcoholic drinks. Frozen alcoholic potion. Once one button you pushed that you regretted. Have I ever pushed a bad button? There was one button that I touched. I really would like to push it, but I couldn't. It was the main power shut off the whole of the Ramscraig Steelworks. And the guys absolutely had a fit when I just ran my finger over the front of it. I wasn't going to push it. Oh, a work colleague recently pressed the off button on a 2500 AC being shut off power for the whole site. That's dramatic. Original margarita, tequila, lime, orange liqueur, triple sec, or dry curacao shaken with ice. Ah. I thought margarita was a style of drink. I'm not really sure. Other buttons that I pressed. I mean, software buttons that do terrible things. No real major buttons. Have I blown something up significant? I've pushed some buttons, I've left my ears whistling. And a flash in the eyes that takes a while to come back. Yes, buttons. Oh, Cinco de Mayo is falling on a Friday. You're right. Yeah, that's going to be party zone, Jason Green. I think all these parties are now being used by pubs to celebrate around the world for profit. An apprentice in my year sent a fortune of stuff up the flare stack. He pressed the wrong button. DC on. One whiskey distillery in Scotland drained the wrong tank that was being flushed out and cleaned, and they just put a whole tank of whiskey down into the basically drain outlet, and then got in trouble because it killed all the fish in the watercourses. Matt Hailshire, typical white girl margarita sounds my sort of thing. Basically the same stuff but blended with ice in a blender, often with more fruit flavours, and sometimes most of the limed orange is just pre-mixed stuff. That sounds like the margarita I'd recognise as the big rows of the slush machines churning in the background. Margarita Pragatan, no. Hello, is it me you're looking for? I can see it in your eyes. Really terrible, yes. I will say I've pushed buttons that, like, have you ever seen that one? Well, Ave was actually using the thing to cut through a battery. The cutter, and you could see his fingers shaking on the trigger. I know that feeling, that you just know it's going to be huge because you're blowing something up. And there's that courage thing, you just can't quite push the button. Margarita Pragatan, indeed. At least the fish died happy, yes. I'm not sure they were, but I'm not sure. Maybe they didn't like whiskey. Maybe they were more vodka fish. I thought it was light, went to turn it on, the whole building went dark. Well, the person who's potentially going to be the crew chief on the pt2 on her first day on the job plunged the auditorium into the dark and was crying because she thought she was going to get sacked. She didn't. It was a very memorable instant. It was a good result. The audience screamed and everything. It was fantastic. And I was like, oh no. Run, get there, turn the power on again. Oh. This was hundreds of thousands of petroleum products. Oh, that's fine. They've got more. It must have been quite bright. 5 minutes to the next woofle. It is 2 minutes to the next woofle, unless I'm well behind. Or when cutting a big cable and you're not sure if it's live. Indeed, Craig Matthews. It's always a bit, did you get fired? No, Craig Matthews. She's potentially the next crew chief in the job. I used to have an explosion machine with a big solenoid where you would load in a whole row of cap gun caps. Bang. Oh, okay. Oh, Village Alcoholic came yesterday, stay 10 hours, we carry him home not happy. No, doesn't sound fun. Zoot Allah. So the stream will go on for about 3 minutes more. It'll end in a woofle, this slight overrun that I always do, and then it will end, and I'll be back on Saturday. 23:39 on Big Clive Clock. It's not, is it? Is it that far out? Hold on, let me just check. Big Clive Live. 23:30. It is a wee tiny bit ahead. Spike gun. Nobody told me. I mentioned that, was it in the last stream, the ICI Grangemouth. That's the first time I came across a spike gun. But the guys I was working with were spiking a cable. They didn't tell me what it was. And they said, right, we're just moving out now. And then they let it off behind me just to see my reaction. It goes bang. It used an explosive charge to fire a spike through a cable. Is that just a flat panel TV in the other room making live on clock? Yappy Fox, it's a video wall panel. Running on a little circuit board, one of the versions of these, a little standalone board, running at 5 volts and connectable to Wi-Fi on a good day. It's one of those systems from China. But it is just a video wall panel, which is fine. Works okay. The clock setting is a bit wooden, which means it's kind of like out because it's so hard to get it set to the correct time. It goes double bang if the cable is live. It does indeed. It's one big bang if the cable's live. Barn Village want a wall panel. Video wall panels are affordable these days, but when you buy them online, you just don't know what you're getting. I'm trying to think where the other panel is at the moment. Oh, I can roughly see where it's probably going to be. I'm not going to try digging there. Yeah, folks, someday I might upgrade the back wall of the Poppet stave with the LED wall not in the budget yet. Yeah, it's becoming more and more affordable, the LED video wall panels. You get the indoor and outdoor ones. The indoor is much lighter because it doesn't have all the waterproofing on it. And they do require the suitable control system to drive it. In this case, it's a Hub 75. Which you don't realise that you think of the video walls as kind of almost like storing the image, if you will, but they have to be scanned continually in blocks. It's worth looking at. Look at Hub 75 and you'll see lots of information on it. I made a little bit of software in assembler for testing them. Anyway, it is time for a woofle. My uncle put a pickaxe through the main electric feed into Whitbait. He was lucky and just got thrown out the hole. That's made me think of a foreign video on, it's somewhere in Europe, Turkey maybe, and they've got a row of red cables and the guy with the pickaxe, and it's like so fucking dangerous. And they're just talking about them, and then he takes a pickaxe, and the red ones are high voltage, and he swings it and spikes the cable with the pickaxe, and it just goes, and you see the jet of flame come out it, and then they're like, oh no, and they're all shouting, and then he's like, it's like, what can you do? I've done it. It's quite funny, followed by laughter. I guess it was a fiberglass handled pickaxe. It wasn't actually as much of a bang as I was expecting. Woofling. Oh look, more rain on my newly repaired roof that wasn't really cured yet. Not to worry. Woofling. Oh, that's quite big. I'll maybe hold it further away this time. Woofle. And that concludes tonight's presentation. I shall see you on Saturday, and in the meantime, we'll investigate doing some electronic stuff, maybe even that ultraviolet unit, the nail curing thing, just out of interest. But until then, I shall see you about, and have a good day, because it's only one day, and I'll see you on Saturday. Until then, have fun. Goodbye.